let's see. We are up to Amir
People
Hashem.
don't know me. I'm like that, So.
I got a message from somebody. Can you turn the camera around? Who's the doctor? Who's Reb Shol? You keep saying these names.
Can we just show the room?
And not yet. No. They don't want to be shown. Let's leave it mysterious. It's the mysterious voices from behind the camera. Yeah.
They got to come in person.
Lahavdil, when Jimmy Kimmel Live, you ever show the audience? Maybe you do sometimes, Yeah. Okay.
You got to come in person. That's the motivation.
On the idea to focus on you.
Not even on me, on Torah. It should really be on the Gemara. Whoever gives the shiur, yeah. Okay. Anyway, Zuk the Heilige Gemara, Chesam et Beis. We are holding by the two dots. The Mishnah said, Ein ba yediyah betchila v'yesh ba yediyah b'soif, sur anasa b'chutz v'yem ha'kipurim mechaper. Take a look at the chart we made, actually. See, take a look at this chart. We have Tumas Mikdash v'Kedashav, right? B'mezid is Karis. There are 5 variations of Tumas Mikdash v'Kedashav. B'mezid is Karis. Yediyah betchila b'soif, and the Helen ben time is a carbon oil of a yared. A Yediyah betchila is the Sarah Panimi. We were talking about the Sarah Panimi yesterday. The Avodah of Yom Kippurim, the Sarah Panimi. It's all on this particular case of Tumas Mikdash v'Kedashav, on one of the 5 cases of Yediyah betchila. And now we're going to talk about Yediyah b'soif, where you bring a musaf of Yom Kippurim, the Sarah Chitzon. That's what is mechaper. So these are the 5 variations of Tumas Mikdash v'Kedashav. We so far spoke about the first 3. Now we're going to Yediyah b'soif. The 4th one, what is the mekar, and how do we know that Yediyah b'soif, the Soyer HaChitzon of Yom Kippurim, is mechaper? So we're the 2 dots. Ein ba yediyah betchila v'yesh ba yediyah b'soif, Soyer nasa b'chutz v'yom Kippurim mechaper. Asks the Gemara Michdi, Iskusha iskish la'adodi, there's a hekesh between the Soyer Pnimi and the Soyer Chitzon. There's a hekesh in the pasuk. Asks the Gemara, once there's a hekesh, what's the hekesh? It says Seir izam echad chatas, which is the Soyer hanase b'chutz, milvad chatas hakipurim, besides for the Soyer Pnimi. So that's a hekesh. It says it in the same pasuk next to each other. So the 2 seirim are mechaper on the same concept, the same avera. So the Gemara says, whoa, if they're mechaper both in Tumas Mikdash v'Kedashav because of a hekesh, mirdi is kusha is kashladodi and mechaper pnimi adidei va'ad v'chitzoin. So why isn't the pnimi mechaper adidei and also ad v'chitzoin? If there's a hekesh, so why are you relegating the pnimi to only be mechaper? Pull up the chart again. Why isn't the pnimi also mechaper on Yediyah b'soif? If these 2 have a hekesh, there's a hekesh in the pasuk. In these 2 cases, so the Gemara wants to know, then the Sarah Pnimi should be mechaper also on Yediyah b'soif, and the Gemara is going to ask in a moment, the Sarah Chitzon should be mechaper on Yediyah b'tchila. Let them be mechaper on both on each other.
The Chitzon is in outside, it's Chitzon.
Yes, that's Chitzon.
That's Chitzon. אז אם הוא פתאום, יש לו ידיעה שהוא עוזר, אני זוכר שלמדנו שהוא צריך לברוח. אז אם הוא נמצא בפנימי, בשער הפנימי, אז יש לו בעיה רצינית, איך הוא יברח?
So'ir apnimi. We're talking about seirim. The Kohen Gadol is makriv the So'ir LaHashem inside, right? And we know that that's mechaper on Yediyah betchila. If he knew to begin with it, he was tummy, and then if he forgot, he didn't remember, so you have the So'ir apnimi. Yediyah b'soif is So'ir Chitzon, which means he didn't know that he became tamei. He only found out a friend told him afterwards he became tamei. That's the So'ir Chitzon. Yeah.
Where physically is?
He's in his house.
No, where physically is the guy?
Right now he's in his house. We're talking about Yom Kippur. He stepped over the Harabayas. Betuma. Question is, did he know that he was tamei to begin with, and then he forgot, or he never knew and then he remembered?
And then he went home. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, he went home. Yeah. We're talking about the void of the Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur. Which Soyer is mechaper for which state of forgetfulness, which avera, which variation of Tumas Mikdash v'Kedashav. So the Gemara says there's a hekesh of Yediyah, Sarah Pnimi and Sarah Chitzon, there's a hekesh. The Gemara wants to know, if there's a hekesh, then let's say that each one is mechaper for both. There's a hekesh. So that's Gemara. Michdi, iskusha iskish ladadi. On mechaper Pnimi adidei va'ad chitzon. Let the Pnimi be mechaper on Yediyah Batchila, and also on a case of Chitzon. Why would you need the Pnimi to be Mechaper on both? Nafkamina Lehecha Deloya Chitzon. In a case on one Yom Kippur, let's say you didn't do the Sarah Chitzon, so at least the Sarah Pnimi will cover both Averis. Now, why wouldn't you do the Sarah Chitzon? Like, what Yom Kippur would there ever be a case where you didn't do the Sarah Chitzon? So Rashi says,
There's a siege.
ooh, very good. Maybe that's what Rashi means. Rashi says, Im lo yoylem seirim b'chol hatzorach. They didn't have enough goats. I was like, when would there not be enough goats? I don't know. Like, what? The Rimigash says a different case. Let's say the guy died between the Sarah Pnimi and the Sarah Chitzon. He kicked the bucket. No, the guy who needed the kapara. So first the Kohen Gadol did the Sarah Pnimi. That's mechaper only for an aveira of Yediyah B'tchila without Yediyah B'soif. But he also needed to cover the other aveira that he did, which is only Yediyah B'soif. But he couldn't get to it because he died. So Memela here, the Nafkamina would be the Sarah Pnimi is mechaper on both variations. Then he would already have a kapara from the Sarah Pnimi. The Sarah Pnimi is the Seir, the Sorah LaHashem. You're mechaper b'fnim. Yeah. The Kodesh HaKadoshim, the Badei Oren, the Paroiches, the blood. Yes. This is the Mezbeach HaChitzon, right.
אז עכשיו זה מסתדר לי למה.
Yeah.
למה יש אנשים שנכנסו רק לעזרה בטומאה,
Yeah.
ויותר קל להם לצאת החוצה, אז הם צריכים רק את הקורבן הזה של החיצון.
Yes.
ויש אנשים שנכנסו ממש
בפנים.
בפנים.
לא, זה לא הפירוש של פנימי וחיצון, לא.
לא, הכוונה...
הפירוש של פנימי וחיצון זה הסוהר הפנימי וסוהר החיצון.
כן, איפה הגריבו אותו?
יש שלושה שעירים, there are 3 goats in Yom Kippur, yeah? סוהר להשם, that's in the...
אני מבין, הם באים לכפר על משהו, נכון?
כן. סוהר פנימי זה מחפר on ידיעה בתחילה, סוהר החיצון זה מחפר on ידיעה לבסוף. So the Gemara says, let each be mechaper on both averis, because there's a hekesh. So the Gemara says, no, it can't, because Omar Kro, by the Mizbeach HaPnimi, it says, achas. Achas bashona, kapara achas mechaper, ve'enu mechaper shtei chaparas. The Soira Pnimi can only be mechaper for one tuma, one variation of tumas mikdash, which is yediyah betchila. So Mamela, even though there's a hekesh, it can't work for a case of yediyah basoif, because it says achas, so the Soira Pnimi can only work on one. So the Gemara asks, "Unachaper chitzin adidei v'may da'avet pnimi." Okay, so then let the chitzin operate on both accounts, and both let the chitzin be mechaper for both, because there's a hekesh chitzin to pnimi. So the pnimi can't be mechaper for the chitzin because there's achas, but let the chitzin be mechaper for both variations of Tumas Mikdash v'Kedoshim. So the Gemara is going to say it says another achas. Yeah, nafkamina l'tuma de'ira bezelozeh. What would be the nafkamina? Let's say the guy became tamei between the akravas pnimi and the akravas chitzon. So now he needs the soira chitzon to be mechaper on the aveira that he did right after the soira pnimi. So now he needs a soira chitzon. The soira chitzon can be mechaper on yediyah batchila also. So then have a kapar from the soira chitzon. On my cross, where it says achas bashona, it says twice achas by the pnimi to emphasize kapara zu. This kind of kapara that the soira pnimi gives you, loy tehei, cannot give you ella achas bashana. Can only give you once a year, which is with the Sorah Pnimi. The Sorah Chitzon can't work for that. Rak ala avera shel yediyah basoif. The Sorah Chitzon is specific for the... Tumas Mikdash Kedoshim has many variations, Reb Shaul. It has a variation. You brought a friend too. Shulam aleichem. Shulam aleichem. What's your name?
Leo.
Leo? Liav. Comes from the word, like the name Eliav?
Eliav, yeah.
Eliav. Ah, very nice. Yafeh Moed. Welcome. Yeah, let's get him a Gemara. You understand English, right? Okay, very nice. Okay, Gevaldig. Yeah, so, Reb Shaul, yeah? So the Sorah Chitzon is mechaper on Yediyah Basoif, the Sorah Pnim is mechaper on Yediyah Batchila, and these two cannot cover for the other. That's the Gemara today. So we're just starting Daf Tesam at Aleph, top line. El Rabbi Shmuel de Omar, ein ba Yediyah Batchila v'yesh ba Yediyah Basoif, bar karbenu Sorah nasa b'chutz hamay mechaper. So we didn't meet Rabbi Shmuel, this Rabbi Shmuel that we're introduced to over here on the top of Daf Tesam at Aleph, we haven't met yet. So we're going to meet him soon in Mirz Hashem, but we have a preview here where it says Rabbi Shmuel holds that Ein ba yediyah b'tchila and Yesh ba yediyah b'soif can bring a carbon oil of a yored. Until now, we knew that you have to have a yediyah b'tchila, yediyah b'soif to bring a carbon oil of a yored. This Rabbi Shmuel holds, no, you don't need a yediyah b'tchila. Even a yediyah b'soif alone, you can bring an oil of a yored. It says, sorry, nasa b'chutz, am I mechaper? Until now, we understood, sorry, nasa b'chutz is mechaper and yediyah b'soif. But according to Rabbi Shmuel, that says that's a bar carbon, you can bring an oil of a yored. So what's the sorry nasa b'chutz going to be mechaper for? And it says the Gemara al she'im ba yediyah loy b'tchila v'loy b'soif. He's going to tell us it works for when you mamish were completely unaware you did an aveira. You didn't have a yediyah b'tchila that you became tama. You never found out about it. So for that, you have the sorah nasa b'chutz. Asks the Gemara, hi, si'ira regolim si'ira rosh chadashim mechaprin. There we have the sorah regolim and the si'ira rosh chadashim. Yeah, that's the Mishnah. The Gemara says no. Sovel l'karib meir domer kol si'irim kaparos and shovel. Al Tumas Migdash v'Kadoshav. All the Seirim, Kaparos and Shavam, on Tumas Migdash v'Kadoshav. Elo, so Lamai Hilchas Itzkash Chitzon Lapnimi. Why is there a Hekesh if all the Seirim operate equally on the same level for all the Tumas Migdash v'Kadoshav, all the variations? Says the Gemara, Ma Pnimi ene mechaper b'shar averis, Av Chitzon ene mechaper b'shar averis. It's uniquely limited to the area of Tumas Migdash v'Kadoshav. It cannot be mechaper on shar averis. The pnim and the chitzain are on Tumas Migdash v'Kadoshav. So according to Rabbi Meir, and now we're finding out according to Rabbi Shmuel as well, all the seirim, the soyer of Yom Kippur, the soyer hachitzon of Yom Kippur, the soyer haragolim, the soyer rish chodesh, that's all mechaper on all the same averis of Tumas Migdash v'Kadoshav. That's the bottom line. Now, Gemara is going to say, it goes back to the Mishnah. The Tanakama, the Mishnah says, "She'ein ba yediyah b'tchila v'loy b'soif." In a case of you don't have a yediyah, b'chlal, not b'tchila, not b'soif, right? You ever do an aveira? I mean, imagine an aveira where you mamish are completely unaware. I like to give the idea where you sideswipe somebody. Yeah, you sideswipe somebody like you're driving, completely unaware that you just knocked off the guy's mirror, and you probably never be aware because you're never coming back to that place or space unless there's a camera and they caught you. Yeah, you're mamish sideswiping somebody. You'll never know. Only God will know. And obviously the guy who got sideswiped will know, but he won't know who it is, right? So for that, Se'ira Yaragolim and Se'ira Rosh Chadashim is mechaper for Averis, not sideswiping, but that's a hezek you have to pay, but only for Tumas Migdash v'Kadoshav. Any Aveira that pertains to Tumas Migdash v'Kadoshav that you had no clue, you were unaware you became Tummy, you're unaware that you walked into the Azara, you never remembered about it. That is Niskaper through the Se'ira Regolim and the Se'ira Rosh Chadashim. That is Divrei Rabbi Yehuda, that's the sheet of Rabbi Yehuda. Doctor, what were we going to say?
So I was listening to tapes, I was driving, the lady stops me and says, "Did you know you sideswiped me?"
No way.
I had no idea.
No way.
I was suspicious, but I did it not.
Wow, very interesting. So did they have proof? You believed her?
I had no choice.
She saw you wearing a yarmulke because she knew that you'll pay because you're erlich yid. Yeah, no problem.
But the miracle was it was Rosh Chodesh, so he said, "I don't have to pay."
No, but now he knows. It's Yediyah B'Soif.
I took out my wallet.
Yeah.
And I saw this how much money I have.
You gave her whatever you had.
And that's it.
And she was happy?
She had no choice. She knew she wouldn't get away with it.
Oh, okay. I'm suspicious. Maybe, yeah. It's very interesting because there was a text going around. You know, we talked about the other day, we talked about in the shiur, this guy called the cops. Somebody hit him as he was parking, and the cops ticketed him because he was in a handicap spot. So I told you afterwards, but then I saw it going around. I'm not sure who's sending it around. I think it was about the other story where before Pesach, somebody else. You saw this?
Yeah.
It was going around.
What is it?
There's a video.
Oh, did you send it to me?
What is
Somebody
it?
sent it to me.
I posted on my story.
Oh, you posted it after I told it to you?
I get it from someone. It's forward.
It was. I don't know. For some reason, I got it a few
What
times
is it?
today.
Yeah.
So interesting the timing. Where a guy in Lakewood sideswiped somebody, or must have given him a dent, and he left a note saying, "I'm so sorry. I want to pay. Just please call me when you get to your car." And the guy calls him, and the guy says, "I just deposited it in your account, $5,000 for Yom Tov, for Tzorchei Pesach." He says, "What?" He says, "I saw you left me a note, but you didn't realize you wrote it on the back of a bank statement. So on the other side, I saw that you're mamish in the red, you're in the negative, and you don't have money for Yom Tov for your family." So I took the account number from the bank statement and I deposited money in your account. Don't worry about the dent. Yeah? Mikam Yisrael, right? So anyway, so there you have a case of...
There's no coincidence.
No coincidence. That's Se'ira Haragolim. That's a carbon that you bring.
It's like
L'kavod Pesach. To give tzedakah to somebody else.
coincided.
Coincided. Yeah. So there was a guy to Pshalak Rastir. Everybody's traveling to to the caver. So there's a yid, actually a very good friend of my family. His name is Rabbi Yoel Gold. So he's a big mashpia in the Chareidische Welt. So he was standing at a grocery in front of one of the aisles, saying davening. So somebody says, "What are you doing?" He says, "I'm davening. It's chus of Reb Shaila that should have a Yeshua." He says, "Reb Shaila at a grocery." He says, "What are you doing in a grocery in front of an aisle of food?" He's like, "Look, I just paid somebody's bill. Somebody who can't afford to eat. So I'm saying, and that's chus. Reb Shaila should help because Reb Shaila dedicated his life to feeding Jews. So this, I'm sure Reb Shaila would want me to do this more than going to his cave. The money that I would use for the ticket to go to his cave and be mispawel, I use to feed another Jew. And then that's chus. I'm being mispawel by
Every
the...
year, people pay groceries bills for people.
But on Reb Shaila's
On Reb
Yortzeit?
Shaila's Yortzeit,
It's incredible. Incredible. What a revolution. Okay? Anyway, Kitzur HaMaisa. So we said in the Mishnah that Ein bo yedia loy betchila loy besoif se'ira regola me'se'ira shechadasha mechaprim. That's Rabbi Yehuda. Amar Rabbi Yehuda B'Shmuel. My time with Rabbi Yehuda. How does Rabbi Yehuda know this? Where do you get this from? Says the Gemara, Omar Kra Moira de Gedrasha. It says in the pasuk by Rosh Chodesh, by the Musaf of Rosh Chodesh, se'ir izim echod lechatos laHashem. The word laHashem is extra. By no other carbon in that parsha is there a word lachatos laHashem. It's a Bani Chatois we talk about. It doesn't say the word laHashem. Why does it say laHashem? Chet she'ein makir by el laHashem. The chatos of the soil Rosh Chodesh is coming to be mechaper on a chet laHashem, that only Hashem knows of. And what's that? That's a case of Tumas Migdash where you didn't have a Yediyah B'tchila, you didn't have a Yediyah B'Soif. Why don't you have a Yediyah B'Soif? Because nobody else knows about it. Nobody else is there to inform you or to let you know that you walked into the Beis HaMikdash or ate eggs B'tumah. So maybe it's only LaHashem, Yesoyer Zeh Mechaper. That's the uniqueness of the Soyer Rosh Chodesh. Asks the Gemara, you think Lashem is extra and that's how you're darshaning it? V'haimi boile leked Rish Lakish. The Omer Rish Lakish man is shtanis Soyer Shal Rish Chodesh, shenemar by Lashem. Why does the Soyer Rish Chodesh have the word Lashem? Omer HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Soyer zeh yehei kapara alai. Shemiatati es ha'yireyach. Wow, one of the most difficult Gemaras in Shas. Gemara says, the word Lashem by the Soyer Rish Chodesh is coming to teach us that HaKaviyochel Hashem says, I need a kapara because I was mamayit the Yereach, right? We know the Gemara in Chulin, Daf Samach, the Gemara says, first it says, Shnei Ma'oiris HaGedolim, and then it refers to Samara Godol the Shemesh, Samara Kotten the Levana. Contradiction. HaGedolim sounds like they're equal, and HaKotten to the Levana sounds it's not. The answer is, there was something that happened in between, where the Levana complained, Shnei Melochem Mishtamshe B'Keser Echad, and in the end, Hashem says, okay, so if you have a taina, L'chi Ma'ati Es Atzmech, so go ahead, make yourself smaller. And the Levana had tainus on Hashem saying, I'm coming with a taina hagan, I'm coming with a real taina, and you're punishing me for it. So the Rebbeinu Shalom says, I need a kapara, kaviyachol, sarzei a kapara alai, al sheme'atati es ha'yireach. Lamaisa, if you look at the side of the Gemara, in the Agoz V'tziyunim, if you have it, I don't have it over here in my art scroll, but if you have it on the side, anybody who has a Gemara on the side, you have the Agoz V'tziyunim in that one, in the paperback one? On the side, it says that this Gemara is soid. I don't remember the exact lesson. Is soide soidis. Like what in the world does this mean? It's mamish soide soidis. If you have anybody have a regular Gemara? Can I borrow that Gemara for one moment? I'm sorry.
Let me try to find it.
Oh, here it is. So there goes. You know what? This doesn't have it either. Oh yeah, zeu soid misoidis hakabola. On the side it says, "Ve'ein la'avina kamashmoi chas v'shalom." You shouldn't understand the kamashmoi. Ki kol kvuda basmelech panim. I wouldn't expect this expression over here when we're trying to keep a Gemara, hidden. The real meaning of the Gemara has to be hidden. It's a soid v'na soidis. So it's called kvuda basmelech panima. But if you take a look at the Aruch on Tosfos on the Daf, which the Rif also says, it says Sorzei kapara alai, pirish ba'Aruch. Aruch says, Sar zeh kapara li Yisrael. Avada! It's a kapara to Klal Yisrael. It's not a kapara on Hashem. V'olai likvoy azman kapara. Hashem says, I have to set a time, a date, for when you should bring that kapara, v'kavati b'Rosh Chodesh, and I said, bring it on Rosh Chodesh, l'hafiz daita shel yereach. So this way you can appease the yereach. So the question becomes, what kind of connection is there between our aveiros and appeasing the yereach for being smaller? Again, even according to the Rif and Taisvus, the Aruch, where's the connection between the yereach being smaller and us needing a kapara, Klal Yisrael needing a kapara once a month?
We said, ישראל משולה לירח.
Yeah.
עם ישראל משול לירח.
Yeah.
וראש חודש אמרנו שזה כמו כיפור קטן.
Right.
נכון?
Yep.
ומביאים קורבן עולה שם, נכון?
Right. It's It's
מקבלים קורבן עולה.
it's called a chatas. Chatas la Hashem. It's a chatas.
חטאס או
Yeah, it's a chatas.
What's the different maskell? Is Taisus?
This Taisus there maskal is soyer zeye kapara olai.
So didn't we just talk about the women being
כן, קורבן חטאת, yeah. אם חטאת.
Yeah.
Right, and there's a connection between the women and the moon, right?
Ooh, okay.
The sun is the masculine energy, the woman is the feminine energy. That's
Okay.
why women have all the day off on Rosh Chodesh,
Right.
because they have like their whole, it's like the same thing. The cycle is like the moon,
Right.
right? And so that was the beginning of the tikkun of I guess it's like the chet of Adam and Chava, right? Is the fallen feminine aspect.
הבנתי עכשיו.
Right? Yeah. And then the tikkun is on Rosh Chodesh, because at the end of the days, the moon's going to come back in a full light. The sun's going to be 7 times stronger.
Wow, very good. Lamalois pegimas alavana la'asid lavai. The lavana will be full again.
Right.
It will be full again.
Of Adam and Chava, it was the moon. It was also the land and the trees. So the land and the tree also sitting again.
Okay, everything goes back to Adam Chav and the Eitz Hadas. Yeah, it's unbelievable. All of it goes back, but we have to talk about the connection exactly. I don't. What,
Yeah. It's the, here, Reb Shal, yeah, you want to do it? It's the feminine aspect of the moon.
No, I mean, I have this, I have the Gemara.
he wants to. Yeah.
We're just talking about the women, and they have to bring their where we should go. The last daf, right? We're just talking about the women when they give birth, right? They have to go and you have to bring the chata.
Yeah, the Yoledas. She's she's nishbas.
So now we're talking about the moon, and the next daf about the tikkun of the moon, and we're bringing a carbon for all the Klal Yisrael and talking. The first ever real Avera in the Torah was the moon talking back to Hashem, right? Which is going to end up being the Tikkun Olam when she comes back in her full force.
Okay. All right, very nice. This is Kabbalistic. Yeah, what is that, John? Yeah.
מה זה חטאס לשם?
Yeah.
זה חטאס למען לעבירה שאינה ידועה, רק לשם ידועה. מה זאת אומרת? רק השם יודע שהוא נכנס למקום טמא, נכון? הוא לא יודע.
רק השם מכיר בו,
רק השם מכיר
בזה.
רק השם מכיר בזה. למה זה קשור לראש חודש? הראש חודש שחור, אין אור בכלל.
אוקיי.
זה כאילו אין ידיעה.
אבל יש ידיעה בתחילה ויש ידיעה בסוף.
כן, למה? אין ידיעה, לא, רק השם יודע.
Okay, very
רק
nice.
השם יודע.
Very nice. You know, I just give you a couple of pshatim that I saw in the Achronim, Chasam Sofer, the Meshech Chochma, exactly pshat in this Gemara. According to the Rif and Taisvus, that we need a kapara. Why does it? What does it have to do with Rosh Chodesh? What does it have to do with the Levana? You know, Kodesh Baruch Hu says, "I'm going to set it in the time of Rosh Chodesh to be mefayez the Levana." Chasam Sofer in Chulin, and also over here, he speaks out. He says that we know that the Levana is going to be restored to its original size, la'asid lavei. Why hasn't the Levana been restored yet? Because of our Averis, right? If we would be mashlam ourselves, then the Levana would already be restored to its original size. So we need a kapara for our Avainis so that the Levana can get restored to its original size. So Hashem said, bring it on Rosh Chodesh to be mafayis the Levana for not getting there yet. You're not there yet. That's the Chasam Sofer's chap. The Meshech Chochma in Parshas Pinchas on the pasuk of L'chatas LaHashem has another chap. He says that B'shanim Kadmonius, they used to serve the Levana. They used to treat the Shemesh, the sun, as a god. Why? Because that's the Moira Gadol. It's the greatest koyach in the world. That was their toos. Their toos was that's the Moira Gadol. Nothing is as great and as big and as giant as the sun. So Kum Techois, that who was Goyrem for the people to serve, to have that toss, that the Chama is Avodah Zarah, the Levana. Because if the Levana would be the original size of the Chama, then nobody would be mistaken and say, oh, the Shemesh is unique, it's only one. It's not only one, there's another size, another celestial body that's as big as the sun, and they wouldn't come to the toss of serving the sun. So Mamela, Klal Yisrael's job is to be oikar avodah zarah from the world. So here they're mechaper there's like a connection between the Levana and Klal Yisrael, because Klal Yisrael's job is to be oikar avodah zarah. So Mamela, the avodah zarah was brought about by the Levana, because now that the Levana is not as big, people have that toes. So what's the carbon do? Yeah, so that's the connection. I'm not exactly sure exactly why. Okay, but that's that. Yeah, that's it. You like that.
סתם הכתוב.
It's Satam, that's it. Yeah.
הכתוב סתם את זה, הוא לא הסביר.
Right.
נתת לשם.
Right.
עבירות שרק הקדוש ברוך הוא מכיר בהן. והוא לא פירט איזה חטא.
Yeah.
הוא לא אמר איזה חטא הוא מכפר.
It's a little bit of a diss to the sun. What it's saying is, Hashem said that you do it on Rosh Chodesh, which is related to the moon. You might have thought that the sun is God. No, Hashem is saying that the moon gets the korban. So, like, why are you worshiping the sun?
In other words, it's
Hashem can also elevate the.
It's a defiant of the Chama. In other words, we're bringing it on Rosh Chodesh associated with the moon that it's not the sun. Lafuki the sun.
The sun's kavod comes from itself. It comes from Hashem.
You know what? I think that is what. Excellent, Avi. I think that is what he's saying. Yeah. Okay. Very good. That's to be learned inside. Very shkoyach. So the Gemara says, if it's for Rish Lakish, if that's why it says La Hashem, right? That one word by the Sorah of Rish Chodesh, if it's for Rish Lakish, Im Kain, Seir Ism Echad Lechatas La Hashem. If it's for Rish Lakish, asks the Gemara, Im Kain Leim Mikra Al Hashem. It's a kapara Al Hashem. My La Hashem, like a Damaran, must be for, like Rav Shaul is saying, for the Averis that nobody knows, only Hashem. So if it says La Hashem, so maybe it's only teaching you that it's for mechaper for the Aveira of Thomas Mikdash v'Kedoshav, that there's no Yedi b'tchila no b'seif, only Hashem. So the Gemara says, Hashem, my La Hashem Shama Minotati. I know both from La Hashem. Both.
מה זאת אומרת? הקדוש ברוך הוא אדון הכל, נכון?
Right.
זה כמו שאני דוגמה, אנחנו אדון, I rebuke somebody harsh, yeah? But I'm the master, yeah?
Yeah.
Even though that I rebuke, and it's rightfully rebuke, still I need a kapara, some kapara, to show derech eretz.
Derech eretz, that even the Adon. Beautiful.
That's what I got to like alive.
Beautiful.
Like, because he told the Levana, Lechi b'ma'atit atzmech.
Yes.
He made her feel bad.
Yeah.
So even though ani Adam agadol.
Correct.
I need like a kapara.
That's right.
But actually, if it's rightfully true,
yes,
it's emes. But
beautiful. Onechaper nami afilu b'sha'ar averis. Now, Gemara wants to know. Now I know that the type of averis the Sorish Chodesh is mechaper on is on averis that nobody knows about, only Hashem. But how do you know to relegate that only to Tumas Migdash v'Kedoshav? How do you know it's not all kinds of averis that nobody knows about? Right? It's not before in the pasuk that it's talking about Tumas Migdash v'Kedoshav. So you found a way to say La Hashem averis that only Hashem makir boy. But how do you know it's averis that only Hashem makir boy that pertains to Tumas Migdash v'Kedoshav? Says the Gemara, Tan Deber Shmuel Hoil v'zeh bo b'zman kavua ma zeh eino mechaper el al Tumas Migdash v'Kedoshav av zeh eino mechaper el al Tumas Migdash v'Kedoshav. So there's a mamatzinu. Just like there's a common denominator between Yom Kippur, the soyer hachitzin of Yom Kippur, and the soyer of Rish Chodesh. What's the common denominator? Just like this comes Bizman Kavua and it's Mechaper on Timas Migdash v'Kedoshav, so too Rish Chodesh, it comes Bizman Kavua, is Mechaper on the area, on the topic of Timas Migdash v'Kedoshav. What kind of variation? What kind of variation? Lo yedim b'chlal, because La Hashem, because only Hashem is Maker. That's what the Gemara says. Asks the Gemara, Ashkechan Seir Rish Chodoshim. So he just told me how I know that Rish Chodesh is Mechaper on Tumas Migdash v'Kedoshav she'ein Maker by El Hashem. Seir Regalim, the Mishnah also says that the Musaf of Pesach, Shevuos, Sukkot is also Mechaper on that. So how do I know Seir Regalim and Nolan? And if you're going to want to tell me, I also know it from the same Mamatzinu that Rabbi Shmuel just told me. I know that Rish Chodesh is Mechaper Tumas Migdash v'Kedoshav because it's Bo Bizman Kavua, just like the the Sarah Chitzon of Yom Kippur, and you'll tell me regolim can also use the same amatzinu because each regel is bizman kavua. Asks the Gemara Ikel Mifrach. There's a pirch on the Mamatzina, because by Rosh Chodesh I can argue and say Rosh Chodesh comes much more tadir, it comes 12 times a year. And if you want to learn from the Mamatzina of Yom Kippur, I can also ask you, Shekei Meruba Kaparasai. Yom Kippur, the whole day is Lechaper Aleichem Lafnei Hashem Tetaharu. So Mamela, maybe only there do we say that it's Mechaper on this type of Aveira. And I'll ask me, we ask from Rosh Chodesh and Yom Kippur, we bring a Mamatzinu, we learn Rosh Chodesh and Yom Kippur, so ask on that Mamatzinu alone that Yom Kippur Meruba Kaparasai. Answers the Gemara, Hazam Kapar Mechtav Ksivi. Over there by Rosh Chodesh, it says the word Lechaper. So I don't need to learn from Yom Kippur that there's a kapara on Rosh Chodesh. It says the word Lechaper by Rosh Chodesh also. Yeah? So what do I need? Giluyim Milsa Ba'almu. I just need to understand when it says Lechaper by Rosh Chodesh, what kind of Aveira are we talking about? So here I can have a Mamatzinu even though there's Ksas Pircha, because it's only Giluyim Milsa. But over here by Soyer Regel, where it doesn't say Lechaper Bachlal, maybe in such a heavy Mamatzinu to learn that it's Mechaper. It's Mechaper A, and B, it's Mechaper to Mesmikdash Kadashav. You want to learn that much? That you can do. So Mamela, I don't have a raya on Seirei Regalim. So how do I know? Again, so we're stuck with the question, how do we know Seirei Regalim is Mechaper A on Tumas Mikdash V'Kadashav, and B on this specific case of Tumas Mikdash V'Kadashav, which is Lo Yediyah B'Tchila V'Lo Yediyah B'Seif. And it's like the Amr B'Chama B'Rab Chanina. Soyer V'Soyer. It says V'Soyer, an extra vav. Achanami soyer v'soyer v'iskish seira regalim l'seira shchadash ma seira shchadash mechapen al she'ena b'dil lebechol b'sayif af seira regalim mechapen al she'ena b'dil lebechol b'sayif. Okay, so we have a hekesh that the seira regalim is next to the parsha of soyer shchadash, and there's a vav hamechaber. So the vav hamechaber says that whatever soyer shchadash is mechaber on, which is tumas mikdash v'kadashav, only a chet Hashem makir boy, Soyer Golem is also mechaper only on that. So the more boilu. Ki Omer Rabbi Dashem Bedila B'Tchila V'Lebesayif Hanabila B'Chet She'Ein Soif Livoda. When do we say that Soyer Shchodesh and Soyer Golem are mechaper on a chet that nobody knows about, nobody will ever find out about? We're talking about the chet She'Ein Soif Livoda. Are we talking about only something that could never be known? What's a case of Ein Soif Livoda? What would be a case of Ein Soif never be known? Never be known is a case where nobody even saw you, right? It's not just you didn't realize yourself. Nobody saw you touch Tumah. So you have no way of finding out. Unless you have the cameras and, you review it and this and that. None of that either. So you'll never find out. Yeah. Is there something you could do in private today with, yeah, we could, right? I mean, it's possible.
Cameras are everywhere.
Everywhere. Google, man. Everywhere.
You have a smartphone there.
It's all over. If we ever needed hamchasha for that, it's like today, right? Unbelievable. Yeah. Or not? That's the shaila. How much do we need of ein soifei livada? Ein soifei livada means right now, but maybe in the future somebody can let you know that's still included in the soyer or golem soyer shchodesh. Or you mean it's like never ever, you're never able to find out about it. Says the Gemara. So Gemara says, "Hani bil chetzel levada, chetzel levada k'mishi yidi b'sayv dami yisir nas b'chetz b'yam kibbur chaper adilma afilu chetzel sev levada hashtem mi chetz she'im makar b'el Hashem krina bei." Toshama, I'll bring you right. Tanya Brisa al she'im ba'idiyah loy betchila v'loy b'sayv v'chet she'soif levada before in the Brisa that even if you're going to find out later, but if right now you didn't know, se'ira regalim se'ira shchaydish mechaper divrei Rabbi Yehuda, then the se'ira regalim se'ira shchaydish can be mechaper. Reb Shimon oimer se'ira regalim mechaper avaloy se'ira shchaydish. Remember, Reb Shimon is choilik on Rabbi Yehuda in the Mishnah, and he says that the Sor HaRegel and the Sor HaSchodesh are not equal. They're not the same. Sor HaRegel is mechaper on Aveirus that only Hashem knows about. But Sor HaSchodesh, Reb Shimon said in the Mishnah, is mechaper on something else. Who remembers what Reb Shimon says Sor HaSchodesh is mechaper on? He says it's mechaper on a Tahor Sha'ochal Esatomei. That Tahor, he's not even dealing with the guy who became Tomei. The Gavra is Tahor. But the Gavra ate Kachem that became Tameh, there the Soyer Shchodesh is Mechaper for. Now the Gemara wants to know, Amr Rabbi Yoel, my time with Reb Shimon. How does Reb Shimon know? Right, we just said Rabbi Yehuda has a hekesh of V'Soyer to be Mechaber, Regel and Rosh Chodesh, that they're both Mechaper for the same thing. But how do we know? Not just that, I'm sorry, we have Soyer Rosh Chodesh. How does he know Soyer Rosh Chodesh? We said because it's a Mematzinu, and we have Chatas La Hashem, right? We figured out exactly how we know Soyer Rosh Chodesh Mechaper for Tumas Migdash, only Hashem is Makaber. How does Reb Shimon know that his opinion is correct, that it's Mechaper on a completely different area of Tumas Migdash V'Kedoshav? It's Mechaper on Torah She'achol Satuma. It says in the Pasuk, by the Soyer of Rosh Chodesh, it says the word Ovoin by the Soyer of Rosh Chodesh. V'yalef Ovoin, Ovoin mitzitz. And we're learning Gzeir Shava, Ovoin from tzitz. Nemer kan Ovoin, v'nemer lalon Ovoin. But tzitz it says Ovoin. Ma lalon tumas basar. By the tzitz, what's the tzitz mechaper on? Tzitz is mechaper on if a kohen brings basar shanitma onto the mizbeach. You're not allowed to bring basar shanitma. Let's say a guy brings a carbon, shechts it, and then the basar becomes tameh before you can put it on the mizbeach, or the dam becomes tameh before you can be zorik it. So it's an avera, you're not allowed to do it. The tzitz is mechaper and it's machshir that carbon. The tzitz, the fact that Aaron HaKoyin, v'hoyle meitzach Aaron, it's on his forehead, dus alein, that alone is mechaper. Very interesting. So just like by the tzitz, it says the word avain. And it's mechaper on tumas basar, not tumas gavra, tumas basar, if you bring tumas basar onto the mizbeach. So afkan, by Soyer Rosh Chodesh, where it says avain, it's not tumas gavra, it's tumas basar. Asks the Gemara, if you have Gzeir Shava, so then compare it all the way. Imal lahalon oilin, afkan oilin. Maybe say that it's mechaper on the exact same aveira. Oilin, when you bring up basar tamid the mizbech. How do you know only to equate tumas basar, but here it's tumas basar that a person eats, and by tzitz it's tumas basar that you bring out the mizbeach. How do you know it's two variations of tumas basar? Maybe it's the same exact aveira from the Gzeir Shava. Says the Gemara, no. Avoina ediksev. By Rosh Chodesh it says the word Eda. So we know Avoin says it's Tumas Basar. Tumas Basar of Eda that a person eats, talking about people, that's what it's Mechaper on. Says the Gemara, Mirde, Migmer Gamir Madadi. Once you learn one from the other, okay. So you know Rosh Chodesh is Mechaper on Torah She'achol Satuma. You know Tzitz is Mechaper on a Kohen that brings Basar Tom in the Mizbeach. So asks the Gemara, let them both be Mechaper for both. Migmer Gamir Madadi. Mechaper the Rosh Chodesh adidei, va'ad Tzitz. Let Rosh Chodesh be mechaper on the day, which means what? On a person that eats basar shenitma, and also on the tzitz, whatever the tzitz is mechaper for, because it's Gzeir Shava. So let the Rosh Chodesh, the Soyer Rosh Chodesh, accomplish the same kapara that the tzitz is meant to accomplish, because it's Gzeir Shava of an oven, which is if a kohen is mala basar tama the mizbeach, you'll ask me, why do you need it if the tzitz already is mechaper? Says the nishbar tzitz. Let's say the tzitz broke, and now you don't have the tzitz to be mechaper on this specific case of kohen shehela basar tama the mizbeach. So maybe now with Gzeir Shava oven, you could say that the Soyer Rosh Chodesh is mechaper on the same idea. Now notice the Gemara's lashon is nishbar tzitz. The tzitz broke. Yeah, big machloikis tanoim. I think it's in Yuma. Machloikis tanoim. Whether the tzitz is only mechaper when Aaron is wearing it, because the Torah says, "V'hoya al meitzach aharon v'nosa Aaron es avoyin hakadshim." Beautiful. It could be, because it's on the forehead. You're saying, okay. As far as our Gemara, whatever our Gemara pertains to our Gemara, it's on the kohen that brings up basar shenitma. So the Gemara says, let the Soyer Rosh Chodesh accomplish and achieve the same kapara. And what would be the nafkamina? Anyways, you have the tzitz. Yeah, sometimes the tzitz is broken. So the Mefarshim speak out. The Rishonim actually, say, whoa, it's not so pasha of the tzitz. Is that the only time you need it? What if the Aaron HaKohen doesn't wear the tzitz 24/7? Right? So the Gemara should say, if he takes off the tzitz. It's mashma from the Gemara that our Gemara holds that the tzitz is mechaper even when Aaron is not wearing it. If it's broken, then it's not mechaper. But even if it's in his drawer, so to speak, it's still mechaper because the Gemara says nishbar tzitz. What's really interesting is when I went to the Vatican, I went to Rome, and we have a first-hand account of someone who claims he saw the menorah in the Vatican 45 years ago.
Who is this?
Coming attractions. It's super interesting. And he says he saw the tzitz. And it's not just him. You know, we have the Gemara and Me'ilah. Gemara, I think it's Zayin Ches and Me'ilah, where Blazer Rabbi Yossi and Shem Barichai, they went to Rome to advocate on behalf of the Jewish people because the Roman Empire was being Geizig Xeris and all that, and they claim, and they saw, the Gemara says that they took him, they saw the paroiches with a tipei dam on the paroiches from the Soir HaPnimi that was sprinkled onto the paroiches every Yom Kippur, right? Achas lamala v'sheva lamata. Yeah, that, they saw them in Noira. In fact, the Ovos Reb Nosson writes, okay, he was also in the 2nd century, Reb Nosson HaBavli, he was known, the Gemara in Sanhedrin says, Achar Reb Nosson l'roimi. Anyways, Reb Nosson said, he mentions all the Kalim, and he says, in his day, Adayim, Menochan, and Beroimi, they're still in Rome. Wow. But either way, I saw one of the Rishonim, who was a Ben Doire Shel Rashi. I meant to bring it in. I'm forgetting who. I would have put it up on the screen. I meant to do it. He says that the tzitz is mechaper still today. Wow. On Averis, the Reb Shaul maybe mentioned other Averis also. The big de kahuna, every beged of the Kohen Gadol is mechaper for a different Avera. It's still mechaper today, and it's still kayim today. So in other words, you see, I'm just pointing it out because you see in our Gemara that you don't need for the Kohen Gadol to wear it to be mechaper, because the Gemara went to the extreme of saying if the tzitz breaks, it's mashma. If it wouldn't be broken, even if he's not wearing it, it would still be mechaper. So that's what's very interesting about this Gemara. But either way, the Gemara wants a Soir v'Shchodesh to accomplish the same kapara as the tzitz that the tzitz is mechaper for.
Why would you have a monthly recurring korban for an esoteric case that already has like a backup with the tzitz? Feels like.
Right, in a case of nishbar tzitz.
But that seems so like excessive.
Why is it esoteric? Why would that be esoteric?
No, because you already have the tzitz. That's like the default, is that it's there, and then when you're gonna have a monthly recurring korban just in case that the tzitz is broken. How long could the tzitz be broken for? A month?
Yeah, in other words, he has to wear it. Yeah, the Kohen Gadol has to wear it, right? Like he's got to wear it.
Okay, how long is it out of commission for? A month?
Right,
you're gonna have a korban.
Yeah, he's saying it's a shveri Gemara.
But you need oman.
Yeah.
You need oman to metaken it. You need oman to metaken it.
It's a shveri Gemara. No, okay, yeah, it's a difficult Gemara for many reasons.
Is of whether or not Aaron needs to be wearing it or not.
Right.
Also, can I ask a side question?
Sure.
What would be the benefit of hiding all the kelim in Rome today? Why would they keep it hidden?
Yeah, there's a very simple answer. There's a very simple answer to that. I don't want to get sidetracked, but I'll tell you just very quickly that if you understand, and I know that today they elected a new pope. Yeah, a pope. Yeah. So, mamish the makar, the avatoma. So, I think our channel is officially going to be closed down. By the way,
I don't care about Christians. They don't.
Yeah, I think it's over. I think our whole movement is over right now. Nathan, I'm holding you accountable. Let'sDaf.com is officially closed. You know, because we just anyway.
I like the new logo, but
yeah.
The point is, if you understand the religion or where they come from, they believe that they replaced us. Mm-hmm. And when I went to Rome, I actually interviewed the head professor at the Vatican University, the Gregorian it's called. And we sat together, he had a big menorah in a study. And I asked him, why are you guys so obsessed with our menorah? And he said, your menorah is testimony to the Jewish presence in our faith. They are based on Chamisha Chamsha Torah. They just believe that we have been replaced, and there's a New Testament. So whatever, even the Sistine Chapel, by the way, is built according to the dimensions of the Heichel, the first Beis HaMikdash. People don't know that, and there's like an area for the. They believe that they've taken over the specialness, the uniqueness, the Am Segula that we are. So Mamela, whatever we had is testimony to that they have it now. They're holding on to it.
So then called Homer, why don't they put it on display?
But the menorah is a circle or?
Oh, so that what Hashkifa.com. This Tisha B'Av. It's a fascinating.
Stay tuned.
It's a fascinating
So
documentary.
according to Rambam, it's straight. Yeah, like a pizza.
Let's just finish up over here. Yeah, the Rambam and Rashi say it's V-shaped. It's the diagonal. Yeah.
They derive power from the Kalim themselves. That's why the Vatican is so powerful. If they were to relinquish the power of the Kalim, then they would relinquish all the power they have in the world.
They believe, right, according to the ChatGPT you sent me, they believe that all their mystical, sources of energy come from the different Kalim of the Beis HaMikdash. Yeah, very possible. So the Gemara says like this: Elok the Amar B'chanina Soir Seir, Achanami Soir Seir, the Iska Shiur Gold Shiur Chadash, Masi Shlomo Mechapen Elo She'em Beidia Lo B'Tchila V'Lo B'Soif, Av Seir Regolim Ein Mechapen Is that what we're holding?
Amakro,
I'm sorry, I went back. I'm sorry. Here we go. Mirdi, where is this? Omar.
It's right after Agatzitz.
Oh, Lech Nidvatzis. Yeah, we stopped over there. Omar Kro, oven echad noisev, ein noisev beis avainis. You cannot use the right. You can't use the tzitz for two averis. Right. When a chaper tzitz adidei v'ad derish chodesh, let it be mechaper. The tzitz let mechaper for both. Nafkamino latuma deir ben zelazeh. Let's say a person was who became tomei. He ate achilas kachim tomei between the sor of Rosh Chodesh, right after the sor of Rosh Chodesh, and now he needs the tzitz to be mechaper on him before the next Rosh Chodesh comes. So Mela let the tzitz be mechaper also on that, on tumas basar and the tar shachas hatuma. Amakro oisa noisa oven ve'ein acher noisa oven. It says dafka the chatas v'chayches oisa that only that is noisa oven. The achilas kachim tmeim is only neskaper through the Rosh Chodesh ve'ein acher noisa oven. So there are basically a miyutim by each one. Ravashi says ksiva chavoyna edam. Eda in Nidavka, the story of Rosh Chodesh Mechaper only on Eda, which means a person that eats kachim betuma. Veloi kachim. V'hasam ksiv, and by the tzitz it says, right, not if you put the kachim on the mizbeach. V'hasam ksiv, avoina kachim veloi Eda. It's a miyad by the tzitz, it's only Mechaper on kachim that were put on the mizbeach, kachim tmeim, they're put on the mizbeach, but not a tor she'achas atoma. So there it says Eidav, it says kachim to make it exclusive. Each one is only mechaper for their designated purpose, for their designated avera. Okay, we'll stop over here. Mirza Hashem. Shabbos. We'll continue to Daf Yud.